Nicole, I don't know if can you hear me at all?
Yes,
Yes,
I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you. Hear me?
Yeah. It looks like
Okay.
there's like a red dot on my tab, so it looks like it might be recording,
Yeah,
but
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
I don't see Heather here.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I don't
either.
either.
Let me
Let me
see if
see
I
if I
can.
can.
I
I
invited
invite
her.
her.
Yeah, I wonder if she might need to click like the camera first, and then if she wants to turn her video off. Because that's what I think it was like when you first opened it, it didn't necessarily bring me right into it. I had to click the camera to accept it as a video call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't
I
know
don't know
either.
either.
Hmm.
Is
Is
your
your
volume
volume
still
still
loud?
up?
I mean, for hearing
I think.
you,
Yeah,
Yeah.
is it
it's I
echoing?
mean it's pretty loud. I could probably turn it down. Are you getting a lot of feedback?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
echoing a
excellent.
lot. I don't know why. I'm trying to turn my volume down.
Oh,
I'm just hosting a recording.
yeah. Did you just see that message from Heather?
Yeah, she
Yeah,
said she was. That's
that's
okay because
okay
I'm
because I'm
trying to make
trying to
sure
make
it's
sure it's
recording.
recording.
The
The
directions I
directions I
found
found
show that
show
it
that
sent
it's
it
sent
directly to
directly
your
to your
YouTube
YouTube
and
and
published it.
published it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
So
trying
I'm
to make
trying to
sure
make
it's
sure
doing
it's
that.
It looks like there's a. Let me see what this does.
Have you
Have you
used
used
Google?
Google?
Before?
I've used Google Hangouts, but just for like chats, not for live stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And see, I
See, I
can't see
can't see.
you.
what's that?
I
I
can't
can't
see you.
see.
I turned off my camera because I look.
Oh,
Oh, no.
oh,
I just wanted to make sure it was working.
working.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm inviting her again. Okay, it's showing up on my YouTube channel, so it must be recording.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Thank you. Are you off, Mike?
Oh, you're on.
There you go. Sorry.
Let me try one thing.
Did echo anything? I don't know if it's just my computer.
Okay. Sorry, is that sound a little better now, Nicole?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got it now.
Is it just the three of us?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you guys want me to turn the video on?
If you want to.
I just haven't fully gotten dressed yet.
No worries. All right, so I guess we get, I mean, it's kind of informal, but basically what are some of your guys' questions?
Trying to think back.
Okay, sorry, I have some questions. I was reading over some stuff on the Facebook page. Sorry, this is hard to say. And Heather, you said like private, not you're not nonprofit or anything like that, right?
Yeah, so what I do is I contract with two companies in the area. One is early intervention, and one does home-based services. And what I do with one of the companies is then just create a contract with the local farms, which we get to use, you know, their horses in the facility in exchange, you know, for rehab hippotherapy there.
Okay. So you pay them like a fee to use their horses and stuff for your hippotherapy.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the area you're in, but we pay about $15, which is a total for 4 units, so about 60 minutes.
Okay. And so you have like a contract with them for a certain amount of sessions a week or something like that?
Sorry, it's so echoey. Can you repeat?
I know. Do y'all know why it's doing that? Or how to make it stop?
It's not echoing on my end, but I'm not sure if it's
Yeah, it's not echoing when you talk to Karen. It's only when you're talking.
if it's a connection thing or if it's something else. Sorry.
When I talk, it's echoing for you.
What's that?
When I talk, it's echoing.
No, Try, I saw a tip or something. If you go into the settings, that cogwheel at the top,
Okay.
there's a sound setting for voice versus studio. They said, try clicking studio.
Where is that?
Like when you have the stuff on the side and then the things at the top to turn your microphone on and off and your video and stuff, or end the call. There's that little like gear wheel that has settings.
Oh, there you go. And then put it in what? Voice and what?
It said recommended studio.
Okay.
I don't know if it's. I guess it's just a higher quality.
Did that get rid of the echo? Nope.
I don't know.
I know. I don't know why it's not doing it when Karen talks to it. Is that why you were wearing headphones, Heather? Because it says if you wear headphones, it reduces that.
See if I take it off. Someone distracted my ears. Let's see. But it's echoing with
somebody else. The microphone and speaker are too close to the headphones. Bypass.
So then how does a person get... I have echoing.
Yeah, because it's somebody else's computer. They need to separate the mic from their speaker or use their headsets.
Do you have a headset, Nicole?
I'm getting it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're echoing off each other.
How's that? Nope.
It's a little better. Not still echoing there.
Alright, let's try again. Alright, let's see, Nicole, if you asked that question again, if I can understand you.
I don't even remember what the question was. I think I was just asking about if you had to do like a certain amount of sessions a week at the barn.
No, okay, but I can hear you
but I
much
can
better
hear you
now.
much better now.
So that's
Okay.
good.
So that's good.
So how it's set up, the farm doesn't have any type of covered reading, and the weather is pretty bad around here most of the year. So if I don't have sessions at the farm knows that I'll be seeing the kids at home instead. Because they're not relying on me for income.
Yeah.
I'm just an additional source.
Okay.
So Heather, you're basically then doing like you're basically on your own then full time, yes, running your own business.
Right now, I still contract with two companies, so I don't do any of the pre-authorizations and the billing.
Oh, okay. So the early intervention, and I didn't catch who you said the other one was, but they're the ones doing all of that for you?
Yes.
And so are you considered like an independent contractor with them? And you do, okay. Because I was trying to set something like that up with a private practice here as well. But we were having some issues with, I think we were looking at having issues with reimbursement and stuff like that that was one of the issues.
Yeah, I think it depends by the state, but in North Carolina, the kids that have Medicaid can have Hippotherapy.
Okay. And when you contract with different barns, you're with several barns then, you said?
Just one.
Oh, just one. Okay. So what kind of contract are you guys working under? Do you guys have like a written contract? Is it specific horses that you have? How are you, are you screening the horses, or are they just kind of saying this horse would be appropriate, or how are you kind of setting up?
So the farm I'm at is actually a really small family farm.
Okay.
So they have about 6 horses, and only 2 are rideable.
Okay.
And those 2 horses are actually used in summer camp. And they pass my screening, which involves yelling, screaming, kicking, throwing myself, throwing balls, so forth. So it was actually pretty easy on that end.
Okay. I'm a PATH instructor, and so I was looking at I work at a PATH facility right now, and I was looking at using some of their horses, but of course some of the therapeutic riding horses are probably not the best as far as movement all the time. So, and that was another issue that was coming up. Just like schooling and training the horses to be a little more leadable.
Yeah, I think some of the best options I've had was finding some local farms that had, especially some of these Western horses that have gone in a lot of kid lessons.
Right. Okay.
Because they have to be sound, they have good movement, they're a good height, and most of them are leadable. One of them we just got in is a little bit of a biter, but we started long-lining him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just took the level 1 course, and they went over that a lot too. Like how to choose the horses and stuff.
Yeah, I think because I thought it would be the easiest route, I think, to go with the PATH facility that I'm already associated with, but I'm kind of thinking I may eventually want to, if I can get going a little bit, try and branch out to other facilities. One, because of the location is far for some of the kids that I think would actually do hippotherapy or be willing to. Because right now, like if I was looking at it as a private pay option, even like I have a couple people that have said they'd be interested, but they're not really interested in traveling to the facility. So then it was sort of like, how do I get in with other barns, I guess, was one question that I had. And what kinds of contract stuff do I need to work out with them? Because some people are like, have everything in writing, which makes sense because it's, the legal stuff that can happen. But I'm not.
Yeah, my company they work for has a contract they use for other sites, like if they've gone to a gym before, or the YMCA, or I know sometimes with some of the pool, so they can do more like aquatic-based services.
Okay.
And they use the same one, and then I could just create a liability contract.
Okay.
Or liability release, that's the term.
Okay.
Alright, I'm still trying to figure out why it's echoing so bad. I can barely understand what you're saying, Heather. I'm trying to pull it up on my iPad and see if that will be different.
Am I echoing to you, Karen?
Yeah. Oh.
No, neither one of you guys are echoing for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Karen's not echoing. I don't know.
Mike, would it be the person that made the call would be causing the echoing then? What?
If somebody is not talking and they're not muted, it's going to create feedback.
But
Talk, you have to unmute yourself. When you're not talking, you have to mute yourself.
But where's the mute on here?
Should be, not so much apps, should be a button there.
This?
It's like a microphone button that's got a line there.
Okay. Let's try this, Nicole. You talk to me, and I'm going to put my mute button on. She's muted.
Is she muted for you?
Yes.
Nicole, can you, I think you are muted right now. Can you, yeah. I thought maybe I could change it, but I can't.
Okay.
I'm
going to mute mine.
Okay. I said, what do you think about the PATH certification? Like, should you try to get like a PATH certified, what's it called? PATH registered therapist? Do you think that's a good thing to do? Or do you think you should totally separate ourselves from PATH?
Okay. I muted myself, so I'll have you mute yourself. Okay. Shake your head if you can hear me better. No.
Let me try and mute myself too, and maybe if we're both muted.
Is that better, Nicole? Shake your head, yes or no? Yes? Okay, perfect. So, with the PATH certification, this is so much better. I'm not echoing. I like this a lot better. I originally had my PATH instructor registered instructor license, and then I just found that the PATH ideals didn't fall within with what I was doing. So I actually stopped paying for my membership because my plan is eventually that I'll just go and take my HPCS exam, and that will allow me, if I ever work at a PATH center that does hippotherapy, that I could still wouldn't need wouldn't need a riding instructor in there for me.
So the PATH registered therapist, though, requires like you to be overseen by another a registered therapist, right? To get that?
It requires you to be seen by a riding instructor.
Okay. That's not that bad. Yeah, I think, I don't know who taught your level 1, Nicole, but I felt like Ruth, I forget her last name. It's hyphenated.
It's nucleophilic.
Yeah. I'm like, everybody knows who I'm talking about. But she taught mine, and I know she was saying her facility is not PATH, She was saying she follows a lot of their safety standards, but it's but she's not she's not a registered or accredited facility with PATH because there was like two, I think, that she didn't follow, and one is the helmet rule. And I forget what the other one was. I think it had to do with like where you mount kids, because now PATH is requiring that you cannot mount and dismount inside of the arena, and which may be problematic, I think, for hippotherapy in some instances. But from working at a PATH facility, the PATH facility that I work at, I think it depends on the facility, because like there are two currently here on Oahu, and one is a member center, and then the center that I'm affiliated with is an accredited center. And not that it makes a ton of difference, but the accredited center, they actually come out and check and make sure that you're compliant with the standards. And a member center, they just basically sign an agreement that says we're paying our dues and yeah, sure, we're following your standards. So the other facility I know is still kind of like PATH is, from what I'm hearing that's coming back from like some of the directors, they're trying to move more towards it being like they really are wanting it to be more recreational, and be more focused on teaching riding skills. So the facility that I'm at is fairly good about doing that, and I think part of that is because we also teach kids that don't have disabilities, so it's more inclusive. And so we really are focused on riding skills, even for some of our kids that probably really aren't appropriate for horseback riding and would be more appropriate for therapy, but there's not, like I haven't really started doing therapy, using hippotherapy at this point. And so it's kind of like the best that's available right now because nobody else is doing hippotherapy either. And so for some of those kids, even those kids, were still more focused on them following riding commands and trying to get them to do basic riding skills, versus like anything with a therapeutic, well, not a therapeutic, but with a therapy goal, or purpose. And the other facility that I know of here on island is kind of more old school PATH, and they, I think, fancy themselves therapists basically, and they're taking kids that are really not appropriate for riding, maybe not even appropriate for hippotherapy. So, and they are not necessarily breaking standards, I guess, but they're kind of pushing the boundaries, I would say. And they're certainly not teaching riding skills. And the reason I haven't been up there, but the reason I know that is because of the kids that I know of that are going there are students of mine, because I work in the schools as a PT. So in that sense, I think it probably depends a lot on the facility, but I don't think it's necessarily, like, I don't think it would limit you being at a PATH facility not being a PATH registered therapist. I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah, I think I think you have to be a little bit careful with that. And I think that's, I'm hoping that that's changing. I think it's really slow. I know the lead instructor, the director at the program that I teach with is, she's certainly not from a therapy background, and she's never, I don't know that she's ever really felt 100% comfortable with some of the more involved kids, even with, she's an advanced level PATH instructor now, and she's also our regional director. So I know they had a roundtable at the last PATH conference or whatever, and that was one of the things that they discussed apparently extensively. And I wasn't there, but it sounded like the people at least on the West Coast and in the West region of PATH were they're kind of more like what we were talking about, more leaning towards teaching actual riding skills, and that really is what PATH is supposed to be doing. I mean, I don't know where you guys are. You're in North Carolina. I don't know where you are, Nicole, but there's a facility in Texas. It's a big one, eQuest, and they do I think they're starting driving now. They were doing, I volunteered there when I was a traveler in the area, and they do vaulting. I mean, they're looking like Special Olympics type stuff and Paralympics, and that's, I think, more the type of facility. If you're going to be at a PATH facility, that makes me feel a little bit better that there is going to be that separation between, and that kind of definition between the two. But I'm sure there's still plenty of facilities out there. I know of a few that are still doing more like therapy, and they're not therapists. And unfortunately, there's a reporting system with PATH, where you could call PATH and say, or even anonymously report, send a form in or something that you can say, this facility is not really compliant with the standards, or they're seeing kids that are not appropriate for riding. I don't know how much they can do about it, and I know AHA has pretty much said there's nothing we can do about it, and unless they're professing that they're offering therapy, they're legally, I don't think there's anything we can do about it other than just educating people.
Yeah. Am I still echoing? I got it to work on my iPad.
I don't hear you echoing.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, and you're not echoing.
Okay, awesome. Much better. I have a little echo, but it's not terrible.
Yeah. Actually, the question about eQuest, I was looking at them. So you did your internship with them?
No, I just volunteered there.
Oh, okay.
I was a traveler in Dallas for a little while, and so I just went and volunteered in my my free time, because that's, I grew up with horses, and in high school I volunteered with the therapeutic riding program, and I will say that program, looking back on it, that program was probably walking the line.
There are many.
For sure. And, and I don't think, even, even in high school, I was going, I didn't know a lot about hippotherapy, and I was going through, I went through a program in my high school where I was shadowing different health professionals and stuff, and I really didn't see, and I don't know, this was more than 10 years ago now, so I don't know if if PATH and AHA weren't quite as separated out either, but by then, but and maybe they've changed since then, but I kind of don't get the feeling they have. But I think that's been a process for sure, and I think my biggest goal, my biggest I think the point that I've had the most success in is trying to educate parents about what they're getting. Because I've had, I have parents say, oh, I found, I want to look at therapeutic riding. And I try not to say, don't go to this other program because they're not doing it right.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the message I'm trying to give too. And I do have to be careful because I'm a school therapist, and so I'm not really supposed to recommend those types of things. The schools don't want to have to pay for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I think it's just, providing some of the different information that's out there about what is the difference and between therapeutic riding and hippotherapy, and also like what to look for in a program when you're looking for those things. And that's been a little bit very marginally more successful than trying to like find ways to get these other programs to fix themselves. Cause
Another big thing too is if you're going to think about a PATH facility, is trying to find the one that does everything as they should be. And if that doesn't work, then finding a completely different avenue and not association with a therapeutic riding center.
Yeah. And I think for me, because I'm a certified instructor, it would be easy enough to do it at a PATH facility. I almost feel like, though, if I wasn't, it would be more difficult to do it at a PATH facility. And that's why I would, and even being that, like I was saying, I'm kind of thinking I might be better off going to another facility. And that sort of was one of my big questions, was sort of how was that working for other people? Because that definitely, like, I'm going to, like, if I do it at the facility that I'm working at as a PATH instructor, if I were not an instructor, I would need an instructor to be on site with me in the lesson, or in the session, sorry. And then, and then you still need, and they could be, theoretically, I guess they could be your horse handler, depending on how experienced the instructor is. Because to be honest, you don't have to have tons of horse experience to be a PATH instructor either. So, but theoretically they could be your horse handler, and then, then you would only need one sidewalker, and you would have your requirements met for both the PATH facility and probably what your needs are for hippotherapy. But, like there are definitely instructors out there that I would not want handling a horse for me.
Yeah.
For hippotherapy. So, in that case, you would need somebody on site, and then you'd still have to have your whole other therapy team.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is, does the center want to pay for having a certified instructor there? Because that's an additional cost for them.
Yeah. So, and then like I said, I think a lot of therapeutic riding programs are getting like donated horses and, horses that are in retirement. So they're, they may have been great movers at one time, but they may not be the best now. Or they may not be 100% sound all the time.
And I've had a better understanding from these smaller farms, me coming in versus more the therapeutic riding center. They've gotten a little bit confused because a lot of them have some of that gray areas going on already.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense too. Because I even have one PT. I know a PT who works at a therapeutic riding facility here in Hawaii, and she went to a level 1, and she told a lot, like we had like a state conference, like for PATH stuff, and she was kind of presenting about hippotherapy, and she was kind of like, I don't know if there's that much of a difference between the two. And I was just like, because
there's not a difference because you're a PT already.
I was going to say, I have a feeling she's probably doing hippotherapy. Like, I've seen some of her kids, too, that she has riding, and I have a feeling she's probably doing more hippotherapy than she really thinks she's doing, and she's calling it riding. So, I mean, even amongst people that have been educated and know the difference, there's still that gray area. And that was one of the reasons, too, why I was like, maybe I just need to, like, fully separate from...
I found it much easier that way.
It's curious. It seems like we should be able to work together.
But if you think about it, you know, we're not a equine facility. We are therapists, clinics, outpatients, hospitals, schools, so forth, working in the community, and we're just using another community avenue to meet the needs of the kids.
Right. That's true.
I mean, because my future goal is to have my own farm and then have an on-site clinic. Because even in my sessions, my kids are only on for half the amount of time, and then we have a little therapy room where we follow through with other activities.
Okay.
That's what I want to do too. That's my goal. And that was kind of one of my other questions I had. So Heather, you work for yourself for everything you do, for the early intervention, and then also your Hippotherapy?
It's all contracted to two companies.
Okay.
So, Heather, when you with your therapy area that you have on site at the barn, was that something? I assume that's something that you then set up with the people that.
Yeah, it's nothing special. It's a stall.
Okay, I was like, what does that look like exactly? And you just have like mats and a few like tools.
Yeah, I have depending on the day. Because I need mats for some kids, and the other kids get it way too dirty, so I use some Western pads on the floor. But we have a little play kitchen, a little chair seated there, and then I just have the bags and my toys that I bring into the room.
Okay.
I mean, it smells like chickens and horse in there.
Little sensory.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know about you, Nicole, but I think my biggest hurdle right now is finding somebody that I can do a contract with. The facility or the company that I was looking at contracting with, it seemed like it would be ideal because all of the therapists that work for her are already 1099, and she has a clinic space, but it's more geared towards adults because they do both. And most of their pediatric stuff is already community-based anyway. So I was like, this would be perfect. And then she kind of heard about the whole echo reimbursement thing, the TRICARE reimbursement thing, and she wanted to use that code. And I was like, oh.
No.
And then I was kind of like, well, maybe I just won't, I'll just still bill regularly. She can just deal with it later. And then the TRICARE changed their, because I was kind of like, that kind of put the brakes on stuff for me, right, personally. And then then TRICARE changed the requirements where they want you to have a certification now. Uh-oh. I think we lost Nicole. But anyway, yeah, so when TRICARE changed the requirements and they require a certification and not just like a level 1 training, she kind of put the brakes on it, and I was like, all right, well, that's good, because then, but I think that was my biggest concern is how to go about setting that stuff up.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing is to kind of see what the main insurance is in the year. Medicaid is usually the easiest because they accept all type of interventions. But we just called the insurance providers and asked them what their exclusions were. And we explained that, yes, we do hippotherapy. Can we use that as part of inter-birth approach? And explain what we did in our session. So they weren't on the session the whole time. We were addressing all the functional goals. They weren't riding.
And they were pretty, it wasn't a big battle for you?
They're good with it because there goes the volume. There you go. They were good about it because Medicaid already accepted was, hippotherapy was considered an acceptable OT treatment approach. Blue Cross Blue Shield has their statements on it, but I know therapists in the area that do use Blue Cross Blue Shield, so I'm actually going to be following up with some of them to determine if it's possible for me to do some of my Blue Cross Blue Shield codes.
Okay. And did you do that yourself, or was that
the company?
The company did. Okay. That was the other question, I guess.
And what I did is I gave them AHA's contact information, a therapist that were far enough away that it wasn't a conflict of interest, but it would be a little bit harder where you are. But they were able to call another therapist 3 hours away and speak to her about who she was billing for hippotherapy.
Okay. I feel like, I'm sure that there's some differences in this state, here to other states, but I feel like Hawaii seems to kind of follow like what the West Coast does, because I feel like a lot of the insurance companies are like representatives are actually based on the West Coast, so I wonder if they could compare to like California or something like that.
I would think so.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there was any other specific questions that I had. I don't know what happened to Nicole.
No, I just sent her a text. Oh, not text. Gmail message. Respond.
See. Just trying to see if there was a way that like I could add her or something again. I don't know.
She hasn't responded yet.
Trying to figure out. I don't know.
That's just not even active anymore.